Okay.
All right. Everybody hear me? Pat, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honorableness.
What do you call me? Excellent.
yeah.
Thank you,
I
I
do.
think, for that.
I know you're meeting at City Hall. All right.
What?
Okay.
I'll come down.
You're fine.
Okay. I'll take that personal.
It is.
All right, we will call the Plan Commission meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
Got a motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing on a conditional use permit application for automobile sales at 1401 Gateway Circle All-Star Mobility LLC. Oh, that's right. Wait, Tiffany, what's wrong? I was waiting on you to say something. All right, so this is a public hearing, and it's your opportunity to comment on this agenda item. If you are here in person, please come up to the podium, state your name and address. If you are zooming in, if you could, number one, unmute. Number two, I can't see you, so if don't raise your hand or anything like that because I can't see. Please just chime in whenever there's a break if you have something to say. So, once again, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody that has a comment? Any comment? Any comment?
I move we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Got a motion second to close.
Can we still have comment? Can I have a comment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is Steve Keller. I'm 1328 Laurel Avenue.
Hey, Stephen.
And in I forget what year it was, but we're contractors and we purchased a Stewart farm and developed it into High Point. And our main reason for getting the land up there was because we wanted it close to the high school, and it was one of our excellent selling points that the people wanted.
Okay.
And I tell you, I live right across the street from the Methodist Church.
Mr. Keller?
And I don't know if you can hear, but I've got the Caroline bells going from 6 till 6:15, and they go at noon to 12:15. That's the biggest asset of my house.
Mr. Keller?
Yep.
This is a public hearing on a different issue.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the school thing.
That's coming up later on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, hang in there. We do want to
I'll
hear what
be
you have
here.
to say. Okay. All right, so we are back on the public hearing for automobile sales at 1401 Gateway Circle. Does anybody have a comment?
I will. My name is Kelly Zilmer. I'm with All Star Mobility. I think at one point we had said maybe up to 10 vans that we would have that we were going to be selling. We are going to have that scaled back to maybe only for sure 3, maybe 4, knowing that we can only have 3 in the lot. The rest will be parked in the fenced area. At this time, we don't want to have a lot back there. Unfortunately, we had one of our work vehicles parked out in the general parking lot. Somebody came in and ripped a mirror off of it. So, knowing the cost of what the mobility vans are, we don't want to have that many on site. So 3 would probably be the max. If we did have 4, it would get parked in the back of the fenced area, just because at this time we're kind of concerned with everything that's going on with automobiles.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Same motion to close? Got a motion and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Public hearing is closed. Discussion and possible action on a conditional use permit application for automobile sales at 1401 Gateway Circle All-Star Mobility LLC.
Are you watching that out here, or are you bringing it in?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So All-Star Mobility LLC is located at 1401 Gateway Circle. They have submitted a conditional use permit for the sales and storage Originally in their application for up to 10 mobility vans, Kelly, who represents All Star Mobility, just noted that they probably wouldn't need 10, maybe in the conditions, which you maybe want to scale it back to something like 5. They are not proposing any changes to their buildings or grounds. Parking calculations would allow for them to park up to 3 of the vans in their parking lot. And then they would need to store any additional vans in their fenced area. They are not proposing any car mechanical repair or services like that. They would only do services to mobility equipment such as lifts on the van. Staff have not received any comments from the neighboring property and recommend approval with the listed conditions.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
I will move to approve with stated conditions.
Motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing on a conditional use permit application for a temporary portable concrete batch plant at 2700 Hanley Road, Chippewa Concrete Services, Inc. Again, it's a public hearing. It's your opportunity to comment on this agenda item. Once again, if you do have a comment, please unmute. If you're on Zoom, unmute. And don't wait for us to call on you because we can't see you. So just chime in when there's a break. If there's anybody here in person that would like to comment, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address. And having said all that, does anybody have a comment? Any comment? Any comment?
Yes, my name is Annie. We own the building at 1610 Maxwell Drive,
Okay.
which is just north of where this proposed concrete batch is going to be happening.
Yep.
I guess we just have concerns. We do have some medical tenants that do surgeries, and so we do have concerns about the amount of vibrations that would be coming through that area to get that concrete out of there. So those are our concerns at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Barry at Chippewa Concrete calling.
Yep.
Speaking. Vibrations would not be an issue on this. The unit is very heavy on a stable ground, and we could give you monitoring, but there would be no vibrations on this. This is a normal concrete plant where rock, sand are mixed into a drum with water and cement and put into a dump truck and hauled out. So, and the loader operation that's there would be less than what you're experiencing right now with the current loaders that are running in there in the pit.
Just get one done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments?
Move we close.
Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a conditional use permit application for a temporary portable concrete batch plant at 2700 Hanley Road, Chippewa Concrete Services, Inc.
So the applicants are desirous of setting up a temporary concrete batching plant within the Mimbach Quarry's northwest corner. The need for the CUP is derived directly from the Wisconsin DOT's Highway 35 reconstruction project, as the intended purpose of the temporary batching plant is to produce concrete for this project only. The plant is planned to be operational through late October and early November and would only produce concrete as needed. So in other words, the temp batching plan is not proposed to produce concrete every day or week of the project. Upon completion of the Highway 35 reconstruction project, it is anticipated, which is anticipated to be in November about, the temporary batching plant would then be removed. One more thing to note is that a neighborhood meeting was held for the CUP application on March 31st. Therefore, with everything said and done, staff is recommending approval of the CUP application with the listed conditions in the issue sheet, including those that limit the hours of operation between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., as well as the time frame of operation being from mid-May to November.
Again, a question, why is it not being put where they did it last time, where they've actually put the material right now?
Barry,
But
Couldn't hear the question.
why isn't it, why aren't you placing it where they did it last year or the year before on the side of the Highway 94? My concern is that we've been redoing our roads in town and now we're going to put dump trucks loaded and unloading on all of our roads.
All right. The truck traffic would be increased, but right now the truck traffic coming out of the Mimbach quarry is industrial, stuff selling aggregate and material to anywhere else out there. If I sat on that site where Treeler sat before, I would have to run across roads that I don't believe are intended for that. That plant, when it's set there, went right out to the highway. This way, I'm sitting in a commercial pit that sells aggregate. I do not have to truck my aggregate, my rock, to my plant because it's coming right out of that pit. So I would truck my sand in, my powder in, and then truck my aggregate out. The DOT has been given my routes of what I've done. They will videotape the roads, and any damage done to the roads from the videotape from my trucks would be reimbursed to the city to fix any damage that's there.
Okay, very good. Are you using the highway then to go down?
I am going Hanley Road to Carmichael to 94 to 35 and up.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anybody else?
I have a question. Is there a ponding there for washout on the site?
Yes, there will be.
Okay.
Well, I'll move to approve a conditional use permit.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing on a conditional use permit application for garage height to exceed 20 feet and garage area to exceed 1,000 square feet at 721 Orange Street, John and Susan Kazak. Again, this is a public hearing. If you have a comment, please, if you're on Zoom, unmute yourself. Just chime in when you get a chance because we cannot see you if you're trying to raise your hand. If you're here live, please step up to the podium, and in either case, please state your name and address. Okay.
So we're requesting for the conditional use permit to accommodate my mom, who lives on 6th Street across from Trinity Lutheran right now. But her dementia is progressing, and so I'd like to have her in an apartment near me so that all the things that I'm running back and forth to do for her and with her will be easier. She'll have company. She'll be at our house for dinner, for lunch. We also just have a one-car garage right now we've lived there for 25 years. So we don't really, it holds lawnmower, snow blower, stuff like that. So it'll be nice to have a place to put our vehicles off the street in the winter, place for a workshop, and then the apartment above for my mom.
Okay.
I have a couple questions. I
Sure.
drove by today, and I see there would be no access to this garage from Orange Street per se.
Right, our driveway access is on 8th.
It looked like there was a vacated alley or
That's our property there.
a gravel patch. That's your property?
Yeah, where all the trees are cut down, where the Suburban is, all of that is our property. So we have an L-shaped property.
So my question is then for fire access, any emergency access, all that stuff, is there going to be a road there? Has the fire department taken a look at this to see if it's something that they can live with and getting at because you're in the middle of the block?
Right. The driveway.
There's some issues there that I feel we need to have the answer on.
Okay, well, so our house is on Orange, and then the driveway access is on 8th, and the driveway will go directly into the garage. So the garage doors will face 8th.
So what are you saying? You're going to pave that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
And you're not, I know when we talked before about living areas above garages, there's no plan ever to rent that out.
No. Nope. Someday, when my mom's not with us anymore, it'll just be guest house for if we have family come to visit or anything like that, but I have no intention of renting.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks, Susan.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments?
Move to close.
We got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing is closed. Discussion and possible action on a conditional use permit application for garage height to exceed 20 feet and garage area to exceed 1,000 square feet at 721 Orange Street. John and Susan Kazak.
Mayor, I live in the neighborhood. I will recuse myself on this vote.
Okay. Thank you, Mary Claire.
John and Susan Kazak have submitted a conditional use permit for a garage exceeding 20 feet in height and exceeding 1,000 square feet. They are proposing a building to be 28 feet 8 inches and 1,316 square feet. The 1.5 story carriage house that they are proposing would replace their existing garage, which is not aging well and does not match their current Gothic style home. As Susan described, the garage plans include an accessory dwelling unit, which would house her mother, who is 85 years old. And a condition of approval is for all accessory dwelling units that receive a conditional use permit is that the owner shall occupy either the primary residence or the accessory dwelling unit. Staff have not received any comments from neighboring properties.
One other question, if I may. Are these the same conditions that we are putting on these people that we did on the one on 3rd Street here just a little while ago? Is it identical?
Yep, so the condition for that one was that they would not have an accessory dwelling unit because they did not apply specifically for an accessory dwelling unit.
Thank you.
Move to approve?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a conditional use permit application for Hudson School District at 1501 Vine Street, Hudson School District.
So as was mentioned at the previous Plan Commission meeting, the Hudson School District submitted a conditional use permit application to install a freestanding electronic message display sign in a public district that exceeds 30 square feet for EMDs and 40 square feet for freestanding signs. During the last meeting, the Plan Commission had requested the school district move their sign further eastward, closer to the intersection of Wisconsin Street and Vine Street. Since then, the school district has done so, as is shown in the updated plans that you all should have been provided. Tonight, I believe Nicolette, the superintendent, might be there in person representing the school district and can assist with answering any questions the Plan Commission might have about the sign, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, we've got the superintendent and the current chair of the school board here as well.
Okay.
Blacker.
Yep. And we did move the sign. I don't know if I'm able to share the screen as far as pictures that I have related to the temporary sign.
Just one second. Kim, are you available?
Probably in her office. I wonder. No.
He's probably in the back. Kim, if you can hear us, if you come out.
So a couple things, just want to reiterate, we submitted a new plan that had the sign moved down to where the Planning Commission said they'd like it moved down to, so it's I think approximately about 125 feet to the east. On the other side of the pond, in the same area as where basically the Vine and Wisconsin meet. What I have here, hopefully if get an opportunity to show them, or if I can share my screen, I just have some pictures, what I should have had for you last time. We did bring in a temporary sign, allowed the neighbors to look at it, allowed council members to look at it. We took some pictures of what the temporary sign would look like at night and lit up, and so to be able to show everyone that and what this might look like. So I don't know what the best way would be to kind of share this. Last time they gave me a little.
We've got, I think Kim will be here in a bunch of doors.
Okay.
Opening. I would hope that Kim's on her way and she'll get you plugged in.
Okay. Any questions or anything that I can answer while waiting to kind of share these pictures?
Doc, did you have any negatives, complaints on it moving after you moved it?
Nobody has reached out to the school district at all since we moved the sign.
Tiffany, did we receive any?
I haven't received anything. Emily, I don't know if you've heard anything.
I only got a bunch of in favor of emails this time around.
Staff received one comment that was in support of the sign overall that was forwarded from the chamber's office. So I did forward that out to the Plan Commission earlier.
Okay.
Nick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are there any plans of hours of operation for this to shut off?
Yep, we would follow the city ordinance, which I believe the city ordinance has these things shutting off at either 10:30 or 11 o'clock. That was all written that's already written in the ordinance. And we'd follow the same city ordinance with animation and everything else associated with it, 4-second pause time, I think is what it is, all that stuff. So we'd follow the city ordinance on all those things.
So, thank you.
But be controlled the same way the parking lot is, with the same controls, or?
No, it's a totally different standalone sign, and it has its own light sensor on it so that it would automatically dim as it gets darker out.
And then it will shut off?
And then it automatically shuts off. Yep. Then all, I think, like I said, I have to go back and look exactly, but I think city ordinance requires us to have it off by 10:30 at night, and then it can turn back on, I think, at like 6 or 6:30 in the morning, and, just run all day. It'll just be on a regular timer. Yep.
Hopefully it'll work better than the parking lot light.
Yeah. Well, and the parking lot lights work on the timers. One of the challenges that we run into with the parking lot lights is just, we're required to have so many foot candles of light on our property, in order to maintain a safe area. And so there's only so much we can do with parking lot lights. And then the fact that our buildings are used all the time, so there's, rarely do we not have a night where we don't have something going on at the high school. It's usually pretty busy. So.
Well, I certainly appreciate the school that was willing to change, and we listened to the residents that were up there. I would move to approve this. What are we on, a conditional?
Yes, it is conditional.
Yeah, I'll move on the conditional, and with all the conditions as well.
And I will second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve. Is there discussion? I know, Mr. Keller, are you still there? Mr. Keller?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so I want to make sure you get a chance to be heard here tonight. I know you waited for this.
Well, it's okay. I'm sorry I went early. But I'm also, I live at 1328 Laurel Avenue, and I'm also executive director of the Education Foundation of Hudson. And we 100% support this project, and we've agreed to fund it 100%. And we think it'll be one of the best signs in the community. It'll have information that the students, the parents, and citizens and everything can have. And my understanding is that they're going to offer community service type messages on there. So if, say, the Phipps wanted to put something on there, they could put something on there or things like that to remind people, because you're going to have over a couple thousand people a day see that sign, at least, just with the kids going in and out twice a day, plus all the parents going over it. And like I say, when we developed High Point, the high school was the reason we bought that land and developed it, because that is the best selling point to the land. And I know a lot of neighbors might say, well, it's not a value. Well, it is a value, I'll tell you that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk.
Yep. Any other comments? Any other comments? Anybody? All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Jamie? Discussion possible action on concept development plans for Hudson Physicians SC at 2651 Hillcrest Drive, Hudson Physicians SC.
Hudson Physicians have submitted concept development plans for the 3 recently annexed parcels that are located across from Hillcrest Drive on the east side of Carmichael Road. The parcels were recently rezoned to B2 general business. The applicant proposes to construct a 3-story facility for medical offices and outpatient services. The site includes 2 retention ponds and a roundabout on the southern property line to connect to future development if that occurs. Dedicated right-of-way for Hillcrest Drive is also included in the development, as well as traffic lights at the intersection of Hillcrest Drive and Carmichael Road. Staff does note in the staff report that it is understood that we have received comments from neighboring residents expressing concern for the potential roadway to the north of Hillcrest Drive. In addition to public comments, there are some buildability concerns for that northward roadway extension. Staff would be supportive of not requiring Hudson Physicians to dedicate the northward extension of Hillcrest Drive if the Plan Commission did see fit. And I do believe that the applicant representative is on as well to answer any questions.
Excellent, thank you. Anybody?
I got one big question, glaring question, Mike. How'd the road get in the plan? How did the road get in the plan?
So anytime we start, an overall master planning process, we talk about, okay, what's the long-term concept for moving traffic?
Yeah.
Not necessarily all on Carmichael, not necessarily all on a frontage or a backage road, but making sure that there's potential for a relief valve if we needed one that would serve the property to the north if it were to develop at some point, 5, 10, 30, 40, 50 years or, whenever, just to make sure that that ability was there, right? Now with the Hudson Physicians site, the way that their project lays out, it's a longer building, and then obviously in that far eastern end of that property, you've got some significant topography. It really drops off back there, right? So if you wanted to build a road or have a road dedicated or grade for a road, there would be a series of retaining walls that would need to take place and significant amount of engineering, which is where I think, a lot of the concerns that the neighbors have and that we share too. Obviously, we're early on in this process. We're talking about concept development plans. We aren't at the final level. We aren't totally there yet, but that's where it started. Staff said, hey, we want to make sure that, if there is a road that were to go north, it would make some sense from a long-term planning standpoint to include a road there. That being said, I certainly value and respect the opinions of the neighbors in that area, town and city, and, if we don't think it's necessary, then at that point, I'd say just leave it as an outlot and just plat it that way and not dedicate it as right away for the future.
Okay. That sounds like the easiest, cleanest way.
Yep.
But the other side of the coin is, did staff kind of want to do that, as you say, planning for the future to save us money as well? Because you were going to pass the cost on to the physicians, is that right or wrong?
The initial grading cost would have gone to the physicians, correct? Yeah, to clear, grade, and install the retaining walls. We hadn't gotten to a level of detail. Obviously, that would be finalized in the development agreement, forthcoming if it got to that point. But that was the intent. Was they put at least the road bed in and the retaining walls to keep it there. And then in the future, at some point, if whatever happens to the north, east, or south of there were developed, then we'd be set up for a road that a developer would eventually put through.
Sorry. Looking ahead, though, is there enough room to put a road at some point, or would it have to be reworked after this project, let's say, got approved and built and we're all happy, and then next thing you know, something else comes to develop? Can we put a road in to accommodate it?
I think so, yes. A connection, certainly. A road, you know, without going to full design and, you know,
Right.
engineering. And, yes, you can engineer your way out of anything. It's gonna be more expensive for whoever does it at that point. But yes, I mean, the land is there.
So it wouldn't cut the north off for future development if we did put the road in now.
Correct. If they didn't do anything, no, it does not eliminate their ability to develop it.
And that plays into my question then, you know, as we did in the Atwood property, there's a frontage road in there. And I would presume this road that we're speaking of here would be sort of the frontage road of the development on the east side, only it's not right next to Carmichael.
It's a backage road, and it'd be similar to Annabelle on the west side too. It's
Correct.
A little further back, correct.
Right, so I mean, then going north, the individuals there could put in a separate frontage road, separate from this, and then behind that, then on the back side, it is totally unnecessary. Or, of course, we don't know what's gonna go on there. And is that hurting us at this point as far as trying to answer this question of that eastern road, by not knowing what's going on there, or?
I don't think so.
Or because of Randy's questions, are we okay kind of no matter what happens, it's just a question of timing?
I think we're okay no matter what happens, you know, because then you're gonna look at the next project on a more global level too, right? You're gonna look at all of it, and it's gonna really depend on what it is, right?
Right.
To the north, so, and ultimately to the south as well, right? Whatever happens, we're gonna have to look at, we know what we have in front of us right now from a traffic use and demand standpoint, and we can accommodate that without that road. And ultimately, if it's an outlot, you know, someday, if the people to the north or to the east or to the, you know, whomever wants to develop and they say, hey, we need to do something here, we need an extra relief, I mean, that land is there.
Right.
It's just a buffer for.
But to say it another way, this development is kind of a standalone development of the lot with no need for a frontage road or anything like that, and so there's.
Except for the roundabout on that south side, right?
Well,
So
that's
you're
to-
seeing Hillcrest and that frontage road will come.
Right,
and
but
connect
that's
to
to
that.
connect to any neighbor potentially
Yep.
south.
Yep.
Or, yeah, south.
But it's a piece of the puzzle, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
My thought is to take the road out. I mean, if we don't need it at this point, I think we should take it out. I'm certainly willing to listen to other people who might have concerns or one way or the other.
Anybody? Who's putting the road in?
Stand for.
Who's putting the road in? We are, or the,
Well,
that's part of the construction for the site?
no, well, the road, Hillcrest to a little east of where that roundabout's shown.
Correct.
Right? And then it says future road, right? That would loop up around the back side or the east side and north.
Right.
That wouldn't be built. So we would negotiate grading, utilities, things like that.
It would be prepped for.
It would be prepped for a future road if that's was what.
At the physician's cost.
Right.
Yes, they would pay for that right now.
The prepping is
Like, yes, yes.
Because that'll have to be built to be able to handle, you know, weights and so on, so there is prep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and likely eventually it's gonna have to happen.
I agree.
So that's kind of my thought is. It's
Well-
not- It's not if, it's when. Right.
That was the train of thought of my questioning too, is it's just a question of time before that comes, but I guess on the other side, on a basis right now, would that vacation of the road, as Randy's saying, would then that act as a berm for any residents east of there? Or because of the topography of that land coming down kind of a hillside, it wouldn't really hide anybody anyway from anything?
I think regardless, the property's there. It's whether somebody pays to improve it now or 50 years or whenever, whenever that were to happen, and if it's imperative and it makes sense, and I do see a value in maintaining that buffer from, the residents to the east and
I do
again
too.
to the north, then it becomes a burden on a future developer to do the work that isn't getting paid for right now. Maybe that with the money that they save from, and again, we haven't gotten into negotiation of a development agreement, but the money that's saved on the Hudson Physicians part, maybe we're work at doing some additional landscape buffer to the north in the time being, or, there's a lot that we'd have to look at there, but maybe there's some ways for the physicians to work with the neighbors to do something a little bit more creative to, provide some additional buffering right now.
Thank you.
I guess another thought is if it's not needed by the physicians, I'm not necessarily in favor of making them pay for it, because if that property can be developed to their needs, and the road would only be necessary for a future developer, why should the physicians pay for it now?
I think they'd probably agree with you.
I would imagine. I would imagine so. But I mean, that's just one way I think about it.
Right.
Nobody paid for a road for them, so.
So how do we proceed on this, noting that we want to leave that road off of there?
We would add that condition that so for the concept plan, which is first, to eliminate that future road from the development plans. And then in the next item, it would be to adjust their preliminary plat to not include the area to be vacated as right of way.
I so move. With that added, what you just said.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Everybody understand it?
No.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You had a question.
What's there?
Yeah. I think.
Someone said they didn't understand the motion.
Yep.
Oh.
So can you repeat the motion, please?
Oh, we've already voted, but we can repeat the motion.
It's approval of the concept development plans with the conditions listed, and in addition to that, removal of the proposed proposed road improvement plans and future proposed road on the east side of the property.
Is that clear? Okay. So, motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on preliminary plans for Hudson Physicians at 2651 Hillcrest Drive, Hudson Physicians SC.
In addition to the concept development plans, Hudson Physicians have also submitted a preliminary plat to subdivide the properties. The preliminary plat proposes one 9.8 acre lot for the development of the medical office, as well as two outlots for drainage and utility purposes on the south side of the property. Kind of going hand in hand with the previous conversation about the concept plans. If you would like to amend the conditions of approval to eliminate the future road access and future roadway proposed to extend Hillcrest Drive to the north on the east side of the property, that would be a condition you would want to add.
I have a question on that.
Frank?
We have removed the roadway, the planned roadway back there. I would think that the ponding necessary would not go into that area, just in case in the future something would be needed.
Correct. Their grading plan obviously will have to be adjusted. So the grading plan you see with your concept plan is going to be different in your next rendition, because you're right, that roadway, that surface won't need to be accommodated at this point. But at some point, and again, there's a lot of the unknown, right? We don't know what's going to happen to the north and what their demand is going to be on the storm system. We don't know.
But if that were ponded, that would be a
Correct.
problem if you could potentially.
Anybody else? We have a motion on that? I don't think so. Anybody?
I'll move we accept the preliminary plat plans for the Hudson Physicians.
With the recommended removal of Hillcrest Drive roadway dedication on the east side of the property?
Yes.
Pat second.
Pat seconded? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on concept development plans for Bella Rose Apartments at 690 Elizabeth Way, Hearth Development.
The applicant has submitted concept development plans for a 110-unit apartment building. The units range from studios to 3-bed units. Within the project narrative, the applicant described the apartment building as including heated underground parking, an exercise room, community room, outdoor lounge area, a pet washing station, central heating and air conditioning, and will also have stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, walk-in closets, decks, in-home laundry, and 9-foot ceilings. The concept plans included in the packet include site plan, landscaping plan, grading and erosion control plan, utility plan, and architectural renderings for your viewing pleasure. As this property lies within the Bella Rose development, it must follow all conditions listed in the Bella Rose conditional use permit, including those requirements related to landscaping, lighting, architectural style, and dimensions. I believe the applicant, Greg Johnson, is in attendance tonight here on Zoom to assist with answering any questions, but otherwise staff is recommending approval of the concept development plans with the listed conditions.
Do we know what the market rate will be for these units?
What the rental rate is?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I can jump in. Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting us join you tonight. As far as the market rates, we have done some market studies in the Hudson market, and we do have those figures, and we certainly are happy to supply kind of what the anticipated rents could look like. We haven't finalized anything at this point, as we're still kind of working through the costs of the project, but I would say that they're in line with what the current market is dictating in that general area.
So what's the ballpark range you're looking at?
Well, again, I would say it's around roughly about $1.60 a square foot, if that helps. But the units are anywhere from 1 to 3 bedrooms. So depending on the size, as the units get bigger, the rates go down. So $1.60 a square foot would roughly be for a 1 bedroom, and then maybe down to $1.45 for a 3 bedroom.
Very clear.
Well, so I can't do the math that quick. So what is that on a monthly basis?
Yeah, we don't know the square footage of the units. So what, you know,
There's got to be a ballpark number that they're looking at. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would say you're probably looking at, those units are around, say, a 1 bedroom's around 800 square feet, as an example. And then a 3 bedroom is probably around 1,300 square feet, 1,200 square feet, somewhere in there.
So 13 times 30, that's about 1,900 a month.
Yeah, so about $1,000 a month to
1,100 a month on a single bedroom.
12 to about 19. Yep.
And as a point of reference, here I'll say in the Twin Cities, they're pushing $1.80 to over $2, and down in Minneapolis, they're $2.50 a square foot. So again, when you look at kind of the market as a whole, those are market rate, but they're affordable market rate. They're not, on that higher end.
But I think that's all different on how people determine affordable too.
Yeah.
What is the total height of this building complete?
We've kept it under the 45 feet, which was the requirement. I think it's right in that 43, 44 feet as it's drawn. I know there were some comments from staff as far as what is an acceptable roof design on that building. One of the things in the initial approvals that we went through was what would those apartments look like? And I know there was a lot of outpouring and comments from the neighborhood about wanting it to be residential in style, and I think that's what we've tried to design. Mike, I don't know if you guys were able to get those pictures that I took and forwarded here earlier today, just to give some idea of what, kind of what the look could be.
We have them. We don't. I mean, the planning commission doesn't have them yet either. I don't know, Tiffany. I don't think you can share your screen, but there are a lot of, conversations that we're having internally, we talk about, and Greg, I've shared this with you in our comments is, that roof line, it adds quite a bit on the height and just the mass of the building itself. For perspective, this building is roughly the same size as the apartment that's currently under construction on the Lee property. It's almost identical in footprint. So, from a perspective standpoint, when you look at height and just in terms of how we, if you're looking for something, to plop something like that on there, we talk about flat roof, a combination of where you can blend in maybe some pitch, maybe some flat, give it some more architectural interest. I think there's options for us to consider there. We've got some, they'll probably lose 5 units internal to the building through parking. They're a little short there. We have a number of comments that are going to have to be addressed. But from a conceptual standpoint, this matches, pretty much to a T, what we had approved in the overall master plan for the Atwood property.
How much does a 612 pitch roof add to the height of a building compared to the one up? You said the one up there is about flat. So if this is the same height, 612, that's kind of what these look like. And it's something you can measure it by.
Yeah.
What does that add to the height? Is it about 8 or 10 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Something like that. So the height is 8 to 10 feet over a flat roof design.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
So you will have the opportunity with staff, Mike, to go through those questions and how it's going to ultimately end up.
Yes.
Get the answer? Yep. All right, anybody else? You have a motion?
Not yet. I'll make one to approve with all conditions presented as we saw.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Yes.
We knew it was coming.
We have, I wasn't sure. We have a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a certified survey map for 1541 and 1551 Namacoggin Street, River Heights Homeowners Association.
Well, River Heights Homeowners Association is proposing to split their existing property along Namacoggin Street into 3 lots. The proposed CSM Lot 9, which is the main lot, will still continue to be used for their condos. Meanwhile, Lots 10 and 11 will be reserved for twin homes. On the CSM, it's also noted that Lot 11 contains a 30-foot wide utility easement, which is an unbuildable area that contains a storm gravity main utility line, which the applicants are aware of. The new twin home lots, as proposed, meet all dimensional requirements, the lot size, width, and depth, as well as green space requirements. I'll also note that the splitting of this land from the main property doesn't impact the condo property from abiding by code requirements either. So all changes actually still abide by code. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the CSM with the listed conditions.
Move to approve with conditions.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Anybody want to make a comment? Okay. We do have a couple people here. I'm sorry, Mrs. Storer, is that right? Do you have a comment?
No comment.
Okay. All right, got a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on a downtown design review certificate for Lisa Booth's photography at 431 2nd Street, Suite 201.
The applicant has submitted a request to add a wall sign as well as move an existing projecting sign. The relocated projecting sign would be placed next to the entry of Lisa's photography studio beneath the existing wall lights. The sign face itself would remain unchanged. Meanwhile, the new proposed wall sign will consist of white letters in all caps, and the letters will be unlit. Staff finds the relocation of the projecting sign and the addition of a wall sign to meet all dimensional requirements municipal code. Therefore, we are recommending approval of the design review certificate for Lisa Booth's photography studio at 430 2nd Street, Suite 201.
I so move.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. I've got nothing for any announcements or future agenda items. Fred?
I want to make one comment, and I was driving out of town the other day down Hanley, and I came up on our big tenant that's right at the end down there. Well, I can't think of their name.
XL?
No.
Uline?
No.
Oh, Uline?
Uline. Thank you. And I just want to commend the landscaping plan and the care that they have given that property. That place looks beautiful.
It does. You're right.
And I mean, I think as a city, we need to recognize that because we have others that we have done that or set the landscaping plan and it doesn't look quite as nice. And so, I mean, to point out somebody that's done a spectacular job, I think behooves us and we should be thankful for it. So I just wanted to mention that. I mean, I'm very impressed by how they have that place look.
I think, well said, Fred. Thank you for bringing that up. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
My office is over there. I drive by their lot, so.
Any updates on the comprehensive plan?
Not today, Mary Claire. But I mean, I'm sorry. I don't have a whole lot for you.
Well, okay.
I can talk, but I don't have a whole lot for you.
You've been thumped.
You know. So hopefully soon.
Okay, anybody else?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.